Good morning. I'm Stephanie Green. Most of you are familiar with me as Soleil of Soleil's To-Dos, which is my calendar of culturally diverse Chicago events. But many of you do not know that I also am and have been since 1997 an attorney. I focus on affordable housing transactions, but in 2017, I started my own practice focused on the intersection of creative arts and real estate. So I'm really excited that my practice is infused with creativity, creative projects, ideas, and visions. And I was excited to have a minute to sit down and talk with Tyrone Phillips, who is the executive director of Definition Theatre. He has recently directed Twelfth Night at Chicago Shakespeare, which was a wonderful performance that I highly recommend that you check out before it ends on December 3rd. He is also in the process of developing a new theater home on the South Side, directly across the street from another client, Blacks and Green. So I had this conversation with him, and midway, I decided that it was worth sharing. So we did a recording, and I hope you enjoy. Happy holidays. I'm hearing
Yes.
so much that I would love to be able to share. So, one, tons of questions.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you said that some actors, all they do is Shakespeare. So, with the people in your production, was this a new experience for any of them doing Shakespeare? What was that dynamic like?
I would literally blow your mind. So yeah, a lot
Okay.
of them, that was their first time. Um, Malvolio, this was
Mm.
his first Shakespeare production in his entire career,
Wow. Wow.
to say.
That's
And so there are a range, there's some, Sebastian, there's a range. Like some folks have studied in school, but never done it on stage in a full show. There was a lot of vary, right? The experience levels of people like Adam, the Antonio, he just did a show at Chicago Shakespeare last year. So it was a very, truly a very mixed group. Olivia, she does Shakespeare all the time. I was really excited to get Christiana cast. Everyone had
Mhm,
their own different variables, but there were folks like Pavolio, first
mhm.
time ever.
And did that present an additional challenge for you as a director?
It's a yes and a no. The
Mhm,
yes in that Shakespeare, to understand it, you have to do a lot of homework. So truly, all you need to be is an artist that wants to search, right, and wants to actually do the homework, have a curiosity about what this means, what it meant back in the days that he was writing it, what can it mean now, right? If you hire the right artist, my work as a director is easier because at least they have a curiosity that's active and going. Sometimes that's not true of artists, and you do
mhm.
have to like prod and prod and lead them on a path to make, just give them a freedom to say, okay, what choice now can you make in the acting of it that will speak to today's audience? How do we really make sure it's a live thing, versus the thing that we all know, we all read, right? How do we make it palpable in the room? How do we make it happen in the room? So again, yeah. So that the homework of just like the scanning and the rhythm. There's like literally rhythm and patterns, the things that I love about music. This is why I love
Mhm.
Shakespeare. I was
Just
like, there is a rhythm in the text. If
okay.
something's off in the rhythm, that's a signal that something's off in the storytelling, right? So there's signs as well. So once you respect that and get actors who want to do that homework and see it as music, I think that allowed for, at least in 12th Night, that it was easy. So the people who didn't know, they trusted me as their director to say, okay, what is this moment about? How do you make this real for you and for the character, and then make music, right? I'm like, oh, you can't breathe. The punctuation, you're at a period until this word. So nope,
Uh-huh.
all the breaths you're doing in between, can't do it. Look at the script, right? You get
Right.
one breath to get all these thoughts out, and then
Mhm,
you can breathe.
mhm,
And you can
mhm.
breathe, right? So it's just really talking to them about that rhythm, about again delivery, but text. And all Shakespeare, it always is text. The table work. We sit down for a week. I'm not sure, if you're aware, but or if anyone else you might talk to about it. We sit down at the beginning of the process and comb through in
Mhm.
table work. We researched all the words we don't know as an ensemble. What does that mean? Again, what did it mean in the Elizabethan time? What does it
Mhm,
mean now? Is it the same, or does it mean something different now? Right?
mhm.
The awareness of that. We talk about location. Why the Caribbean? What are the things, right, that drew me to this vision? And
Mm.
so in that time, we also comb through every single scene and we stop at every shift, every plot shift, right? We stop to say, okay, are we clear at this what the story was and why, where it's going, or what the
Mhm.
question is now?
Mhm.
That's a week of work we do before we even get on our feet and
Okay.
start putting the scenes on their feet and blocking, right? So that to me is God's gift. And it's the great unifier for whether this is your first Shakespeare or your last. You need to know why are we making the choices we're making together.
So the first time I went to Chicago Shakespeare Theatre was well before COVID. It was for a production that was done by two Latino brothers, I think.
Mm,
So it was a complete reworking of whatever the
wow.
play was. So it
Wow.
was all in hip hop vernacular, the whole thing.
Whoa.
So okay, I'm going to have to find it to
And it
point you to.
wasn't, or it wasn't, was it the Q brothers?
Yes.
Yeah, I know them. I know them. Yeah, yeah, the
Yes.
Q brothers. That's right.
And so I wasn't I've seen some just traditional Shakespeare performances, but I everything that I do with my website, Soleil's To Dos, is about cultural diversity, whether it's
Mm,
in front of the camera or stage or behind the scenes, composers or
mm,
performers, whatever. I'm looking for cultural diversity, and I especially love when that diversity introduces a whole new audience to a
man.
different thing,
You speaking
making
my language? I love it.
introducing them and making it accessible so that they're not afraid of it and they think
Mm,
it's just for white people or something like that. So
yes.
I thought that was cool about the Q brothers. And going into yours, I wasn't sure what your
Yep.
approach was going to be, whether it was just going to be actors of color or script changes, language changes, or if it was just going to be the feel of it. So I'm curious about what flexibility you had, what went into the choices that you made when you
Yeah.
were given this opportunity.
Again, I'm so glad that it has become a hit. Because now
I
it's like
saw that it was
almost,
extended.
almost choices paid off. No, a lot to say. So from the beginning, I was first responsible for cutting the cut of the script, and that
Okay.
was a lot of work. This play is 3 hours long
Oh,
originally.
wow. Okay.
And I was like, not so, not today. so, so this, that was the first, I would say, challenge for sure. How do you, and then you're right, right. What is the plot points that you can't, and how do you keep it lean that and keep an audience's attention? So
Mhm.
that's a lot of pressure from jump. It was, and we were going after, striving for a 90-minute or 104 piece. Realized how great of a time we were all having, and really about when it comes about even just making money too, to be transparent. They were like, oh no, we need an intermission. And
Uh-huh.
so that also though changes though. That's a big deal for me as an artist. I was like, okay, that changes the through line. And can you imagine if you saw all of that condensed in one sitting, you would walk out on the floor a little bit, right? And so it was nice. The thing that I think paid off having an intermission is that Malvolio, there's more time between Malvolio reading the letter and then actually putting on the cross guardedness. And, so that I think was the best thing we won out of having an
Mhm.
intermission is that the audience is now set up for the ride a little bit
Mhm.
more and they're invested a little bit more to see how this plays out.
Yeah,
So
the
that was a
pacing
big
is
win.
definitely great. Yeah.
It was a win, right? At the end, it turned out to be a win. So that was one. And then yes, the work down to the words, right? Scenes, characters, like even like how do we some lines, all of it. So I adapted the entire thing, and that took some time to do to get to where we were. And then I had to do it quick enough also so that our designers could make sense of it and could see what's in our play, right? And that's the danger of saying you're doing a classic and we're going to do the same thing, or people have ideas of what it means to do the show. Because by setting it in the Caribbean, which was my other North Star as a Jamaican American, I
Right.
was like, that tells me the vibes. From that point on, I'm good.
Mhm.
Like the beginning song that we use and the first moments that you see the ensemble
Right,
come on stage,
right,
that's
right.
been in my brain for so long.
Oh, wow,
Like for
wow.
so long. So to see it finally happen is a little overwhelming, to be completely transparent.
So this, how did this opportunity come about? And I get so one of my questions was going to be whether you had a choice in what your
Nope.
which production it was. You didn't.
Nope. I was
So
given
it
to
happened to be something that had been bouncing around in your head for years.
that's right. The no the once I know the song and the image of what that song was, not specifically 12th Night.
Okay, okay, got it. Okay.
So and so I came to the job in that Barbara Gaines, the old artistic director,
Mhm,
she just stepped down, and so this is a big transition period, and I was her last hire. I
mhm.
was her associate director for her production of Hamlet that she did not too long ago, and
Okay.
learned a lot about that space and how to use that space. That's where I
Mhm.
really got my chops to make 12th Night what it is. I had
Okay.
time to watch her, make decisions and see
Mhm,
how people responded, and like the trap is something, right? And so we'll get to what again what it means for me for the future now. But
mhm,
it's really the resources of having the
mhm.
production value to say we can do it if we have the resources. We're not lacking imagination, right? And I want that
Right.
to be a forefront thing of like this is something that once I said, okay, it's in Jamaica, or not Jamaica. I first wanted to say Jamaica. I was like, no, that restricts us, right, to
Mhm,
all of the actual society norms. And again, I want a world that is not just one type of black. I want many different types of black. So I said,
mhm,
okay, in the Caribbean, if I just set the island, this fictional island there, that gives us the freedom for their designers, for the actors, for everyone to still feel like they have room. And it's not
mhm.
me just saying, make everything this, make everything this, repeating
Right,
myself
right.
over and over again.
Okay.
That's no fun. And so I love the art of collaboration. And so to be able to say, this is our jump off point, it was amazing. Sydney, our scene designer, it's her
Mhm.
first show she's ever designed there as
Oh, wow,
well. She
wow.
is, I believe, I'm speaking correctly. I hate having a name first, but she's a first Black and female designer at that theater.
Wow,
Blew my mind
awesome.
away. My
Okay.
sound designer was a person of color. My lighting
Mhm,
designer was a person of color. Our team was
mhm,
fleshed out to say,
mhm.
again, on and off stage, we need to be present.
Right,
Our
right.
cultural presence as well.
Nice, nice. Very well done. And so then what does it mean moving forward for you individually and for Definition Theater?
The resources that again and just to say like oh it's possible to say that we need our space on the south side like I already knew we know what we're doing but I think this was really proves it to the rest of the world and just
Mhm,
says so for right now we're trying to make sure everyone who's heard of us sees that show. Yes, it's not a definition, but they need to understand given the right resources again this is
mhm,
what we can do for our everyday stories as well. It doesn't have to be just Shakespeare. Again, I think it's a win for us because Shakespeare seems to be this untouchable thing. So it's great that we can say, nope, we got it. We got it. We can do
We can
this, but
do this
also
too.
we can do that too. But most importantly, for definition, we're trying to figure out what stories does the community of Woodlawn need to hear,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Like there's a beautiful quote about culture and it being the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. So I'm like, how do we then say this is what collective we want to focus our attention on right now. I don't like part of my job where I'm picking the plays by myself, so I don't, right? I'm reading a lot of plays, including people in the ensemble. And then we're also doing Amplify, this new program where we literally get stories from the community and then we'll develop them
Mhm.
to be plays, right? And so we really want to make sure we take that barrier out. So now, right, truly, I'm there as much as I can, bringing people there as much as I can to say, this is what we can do, this is what we can do, because we need to
Mhm.
build this.
Wonderful.
And
Okay.
now we got to do it now. Like the time, the pressure is going. The time we talked.
Yes, yes,
It's been
yes.
like a year since we last talked. The
That's
time is now.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So I'm going to segue. And first, this was not the purpose of our call, but I just had
Wow.
so
Yeah.
many questions and such enthusiasm
Yeah.
about what you were doing, the whole performance, and the fact it's expensive. And I totally snoozed on the link or the code that you shared for a discount
Oh
ticket.
no.
I know it, but I still went anyway because how could I not? You know, both because I'm interested in you and what you're doing and your whole trajectory, but mostly because it's what I want to do is supporting creatives of color. And so wherever it is, I'm going to figure out a way to get there and do it, work out the babysitter, all of that.
Oh my
And I'm
goodness.
just really super thrilled that that you have received such a wonderful response to the performance that it has been extended. And
Yeah,
so whether that's for people of color who are attending, or people of different ethnic backgrounds, whatever, just the fact that you have accomplished that is it's really phenomenal, and I'm super
I,
proud.
I appreciate you, Stephanie, and truly
Yeah,
again your time. Thank you for taking the time out, because that's the
yeah.
hard part about theater, because it's going to go away soon. It's not film; it doesn't last forever, and
Right,
so
right.
to get in that room, I truly feel like it's an injection of joy. And I talk to the cast, like some days in our world is not wonderful right now, so it's going to be a little cold in the beginning. That's just the given circumstances of what we're living in right now.
Hmm.
But by the end of it, I promise you, they'll be on their feet. They'll be on their feet.
So thank you for letting me hijack the conversation for a minute with that.
Of
So I'm
course. Yeah, you
going
got me
to
with cultural diversity. That's my blood. You got, yeah, you got me. You got me. You got me.